Martial World Teyvat Chapter 30 Fan Fiction by Azazyel. I was not angry at the Hydro Yaksha for testing me for whatever reason. I was more angry at her for hurting Keqing for interfering with her test. But more than anything, I was just honestly annoyed with how everyone was so much more dangerous and powerful than I was. So with that annoyance eating away at my gut for the rest of the day, I spoke out as I was reading the pages of recipes for elixirs and pills. I am ready to head back to the first factory, collect materials and my mechs, and start building the next factory next closer to the chasm. Keqing's meditation was thoroughly interrupted by my words, with her sighing and saying bluntly, "The chasm is the territory of Rex Lapis's heavenly mountain sect. Getting the factory made there won't be an issue from him. The issue is the fact that the area is regularly hounded by wounded abyssal creatures roaming it that manage to escape the sect's killing field." After a moment I spoke bluntly. "Will the abyssal monster be nascent soul level?" Keqing snorted and replied with wry amusement, "No. Even the abyss only outputs a couple of dozen nascent souls every year to test our defenses from the chasm in the southwest, and the northwest has the depths that is watched over via the rest of Liu's adepti and a couple of lesser surviving gods." She shook her head, and after some thought, she said with her voice slightly haunted, "I went there, you know. I went to the depths as I wanted a powerful sword fit for my talents, as someone having a vision and a matching martial art style needed an equally high-grade weapon." Keqing, with her eyes unfocused, spoke softly. "My lion's roar was made and given to me for free. Under one stipulation. I needed to give the cloud refining sect the hearts of 5,000 abyssal monsters." I blinked hearing that, and I asked unsurely, "Do you still have that debt or something, Keqing?" To which Keqing gently took my hand into her own, and her purple eyes looked into mine as she spoke softly. "Jake. Do you know why you are so important beyond just pulling up seemingly endless base materials? Those spirit stones and the potential weapons you can make is why Yelan and Ningguang have butchered more than 600 people to keep them from possibly snuffing out your life and potential." She took a deep breath to steady herself, and her face went dull as she said plainly, "I paid that debt in 3 days. 3 days I stood on the front lines of humanity and Teyvat's living beings, slaughtering monsters, demons, and abyssal abominations that shattered the minds of those without the mental fortitude." While I was processing that information, she gently let go of my hands and then cupped my face as she leaned in and said with hope in her eyes, "Jake. Your mind and the knowledge within is not something I understand. But I hope that you will focus and work to make weapons that can save my country." I slowly nodded before I took a deep breath as Keqing let go of my face, and I said firmly, "Fine. I will give you weapons. Weapons that can break this world, but besides my first factory, which is for base materials and spirit stones, I will be making a pill and elixir factory that will be completely automated." Keqing's face twitched at my words before shook her head and said frankly, "If you have such ambitions, then I can't deny them. Plus I am not trying to rush you, Jake. Just your first factory complex is going to turn over Liu's head after running for a month straight." I grinned and decided to be brave. I put my arms around Keqing's waist, making her snort and throw a dangerous look at me, but I ignored her as I pulled her into my lap and wrapped my arms around her waist fully. "Humph. And what is the meaning of this?" she questioned haughtily. And without a hint of shame, I said seriously, "This is to help us cultivate faster with my special physique, remember." Even as I said that, I then buried our forms in the thousands of spirit stones I had in my spatial ring, making Keqing groan at the hard stones that hit our bodies. But even as she gave me a dirty look, there was no disguising the pride and giddiness of being able to cultivate with thousands of medium-tier spirit stones. With our forms hugging one another, I could feel my terrible absorption proficiency increasing, as Keqing was very talented as a martial artist, so I could feel my blood energy rising as she brought me ever closer to the point of me becoming a true martial artist of the first stage. I just snuggled with my prickly Yuhung of Liu as I knew she was shy and very traditional, so before anything else would happen we would need to set the date, as it were. Even if she didn't say anything, I knew that was the case, and I respected that. My meditative rest with Keqing, however, was ruined as a series of loud thudding noises rang out, and I automatically thought it was hellbats or whatever unranked lesser monsters that inevitably got into Liuad during the night. But then it hit me that it was certainly still day as we had left for our shopping trip early in the morning. Keqing gave a humming noise and then her face twitched before she tightened her arms on me and said frankly, "It's nothing, don't worry about it." I tilted my head to the side at hearing that and was going to go back to holding her and returning back to my meditative stupor before my stomach growled letting me know that I had skipped lunch, so I wryly smiled saying as Keqing looked up at me with a sassy raised eyebrow, "What would you like for lunch, darling?" She let go of me and gingerly moved off of me while I waved my hands to resummon the unspent spirit stones back into my storage ring. Well, seeing as it's an important day as this is the day we officially began courting one another. She blushed with her twisting back and forth slightly before she said with a smile, "There is a special restaurant here in Liyue called the Wanmin Restaurant, let's go there, Jake." And in answer, I took her hand into my own as we left my study to head over to the Wanmin Restaurant while I was wondering if Xianling would still be a chef there.